What's up gamers, Dreamcastguy here, talking today about Google Stadia, because it sounds like the very last people who actually have this service are incredibly angry. What we're going to be doing today is going through some of their complaints, what Google is trying to do about it, and honestly, talk about how this is going to completely blow up in Google's face. Now, before we get into that, if I look or sound a little bit different today, I do apologize. I got incredibly sick this weekend and even had to go to the emergency room. So I'm still not doing good. I've basically been asleep for like the last 36 hours. I just woke up and well, making videos is my favorite thing to do, so I thought that maybe being able to film something and go on a rant would help me feel better. So I appreciate you guys watching. So while I was asleep, a lot of you sent me this article by Business Insider, and it is essentially like a compilation of complaints. It's a bunch of different like tweets, posts, and Reddit threads, all from Google Stadia owners talking about what specifically they're upset about. You know, Google Stadia is weird because it only came out a few months ago, but it's definitely being talked about a lot. This is one of the first major pushes into the streaming space. This is obviously freaking Google trying to their hand at, well, a different style of gaming. Stadia is not really a console. Stadia isn't really a service. It's not really about anything except the games. You're just supposed to be able to buy it, play some stuff, put it down, and move on. I think that the idea of Stadia is sound, and something I feel like a lot of people don't really kind of address is that this is not a little experiment. If you actually look at some of the numbers, Google Stadia probably cost, billions of dollars to create. And yes, I'm being serious. This is billions of dollars of infrastructure, research, hiring, coding. I mean, Stadia is genuinely a monumental endeavor. And the fact that it failed to me is still something that I feel like is going to be talked about and studied for the rest of time. Like, let me just read you a quote. So throughout this article that was done by Business Insider, which I will have linked down below, there are a bunch of very key quotes. And I want to start with one right here that I feel like really kind of sums up what's going on within the Stadia community. I feel like it's died already. For anyone that's been around for a new gaming console coming out, it's crazy for the first year of its coming out. Huge lineup of games constantly being thrown out. This feature, that feature all being announced. So much fun. Here I am trying to justify the $130 I spent on this, and I just can't at this point. We got tricked into being beta testers, and it pisses me off. The keyword here is definitely tricked, because a lot of Google Stadia users are obviously feeling deceived. They paid a big chunk of change to try and play what they thought would be the future of gaming, right? The idea that you'd be able to play a game on your phone, and then on your TV, and then go over to your friend's house and instantly boot it up. When in actuality, not only is the Google Stadia not able to do that, it's worse than any other platform. Like, browsing through a bunch of different comments over on the Google Stadia subreddits, I see so many people asking hard questions. So many people asking, why is this game running at like 600p? Why are my games so blurry? I've even seen people saying, when is voice chat coming? Yep, I didn't realize that Google Stadia in its current form has absolutely no voice chat. It is impossible. So if you're trying to play like an online shooter and you're just trying to like have your buddies back you up, it is impossible right now to just plug in a microphone and talk to them. How insane is that? Apparently your freaking infrastructure is so strong that it can detect inputs of my controller and send them across the globe and send me back HD 4K footage or whatever you promised, but you can't actually let me plug in a headset? That to me is bonkers. But it goes deeper than this. I've seen a lot of people talking about what's coming next. The main thing that I see a huge chunk of the Stadia fan base incredibly angry about is that there's no reason to keep sticking around. We're still in this early beta phase where the only people right now are the premier players. These are the people that are paying the $130 for the Chromecast, the controller, and access to the service. There isn't a free version of Stadia yet. And I've seen a lot of people saying, why am I here? What's the point? When is this going to become worth my dollar? Because right now, it's just a catastrophe. Amidst this dumpster fire, though, at the core of all of it, the worst part is just the fact that while fans are attempting to love this, they're attempting to log in and have fun with Stadia, Google themselves has pretty much gone radio silent. They keep trying to make elusive promises of, hey, good stuff is still coming. We've got a lot of new games in the horizon. We've got some stuff coming up that's really going to knock your socks off. But at this point, how can anybody trust them? I think what's going on here is very, very focused. I think what's going on is that Google realizes that they've made a mistake and they don't know how to fix it. I think that what they expected was that Google Stadia was going to be an overwhelming success. If I had to make my own theory, I believe that what their original idea was to try and have something like the original Destiny. Now, I'm going to make an analogy here. When the first Destiny launched, it was very light on content. It actually had a paper-thin story. It didn't really have the best, deep stuff. The lore was completely convoluted, but people stuck with it because at the heart of it, well, honestly, the shooting was so fun. Being able to get some cool loot and blast people. The original Destiny, for whether you love it or whether you hate it, it was definitely a game that grew over time. And the reason they were able to grow it is because a lot of people bought it day one. I think that what Google wanted was to try and do this. I think that Google's original idea was to try and get millions and millions of people on board with Stadia and then use that money to expand it. They wanted people to be on board and financially invested. That way, when they trickled out a new stream of games, people would just be buying them up as well. And that just absolutely didn't work. The key thing here is that I think that Google was definitely ahead of their time. If I had to make a guess, oh god, I'm so fucking tired. The primary problem is that Google Stadia is not a platform. It is just basically a storefront. It is a place to buy games. And so people aren't getting on board with it. Gamers and developers. The major issue now that I feel like, it just sucks to say it, but it's the frank truth, Google Stadia has failed so badly now, it cannot be saved. Here's the thing, already everybody's quit. I mean, there's lots of different numbers and figures proving the fact that 99% of the player base has completely dissolved. If you are a game developer, especially if you're like a really skilled, high-budget game developer, are you ever going to jump on this sinking ship? No, absolutely not. Even if you are making your game for the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, are you going to spend the extra 6 months trying to port it over and put it on the Google servers and hope you make your money back? Absolutely not. We're in a weird spot now where I think it's pretty obvious, but Google Stadia is unsavable. Even if they fulfill their original promises and get more of their games to run at 4K, even if their free version of the service ends up being incredibly fun and lucrative, I just don't think that Google Stadia can ever really live up to its original hype. I think that Google Stadia is pretty obviously a complete catastrophe. I want to link this article down below because it's actually got a bunch of very funny quotes in here of people who are just saying, why did I do this? Why am I here? Why am I playing a thing that's just obviously a complete dumpster fire? The Google Stadia fans have begun to revolt, and even Google doesn't have an answer for them. What do you think, though? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. I cannot believe I am awake. I have been asleep for so long, it feels very strange. Being asleep for 36 hours was a terrible experience. I gotta be honest, this was the worst. That was the worst couple days of my entire life. I'm very glad I'm awake, and I'm very glad I can talk to you guys. I love y'all. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.